what's the other thing?
This is a question for you.
Go on.
Like, first of all, let me just remember the name of it. You're aware of Spain's Resurrection Festival?
Yes.
Are you aware of the story of As I Lay Dying playing there and then being removed?
I saw a headline earlier on. I don't know the details, but I saw a headline that said a fan had petitioned to get them removed, and the organisers have agreed.
Yeah, and they've removed them from the festival.
Right.
What I wanted to really do, because I have my opinion on this. So originally, just to add a little bit more context to it quickly, originally they were only on the bill because Resurrection Festival apparently also do a fan vote for bands. And they were one of the bands that had the most votes.
Right.
And it's one of those ones where the fans can have their own band.
Right.
So they were added and they got the most votes. So the Resurrection Fest said, all right, well, As I Lay Dying are invited based on the fan vote. However, then another portion of the fans took offence to that.
Right.
Petitioned, and because of the kick-off about it all,
they've
now said, all right, they're removed. I guess my question for you is, like, what's your take? How do you think it's right that they should be removed? Considering we obviously know one member of the band, I'll say Tim Lambesis, committed a crime.
Yep.
But we also know that he completed his time and is therefore free to be back in society. I know it's quite a controversial one, and I don't want to, like, I'm not going to try and be all self-righteous in this and say they shouldn't be there, they should be there. My honest opinion on it is that if you continue to punish a person after they come out of prison, what is the point in prison?
Yes, I agree.
That's my honest opinion on it.
Right.
I just want to.
So the context, but add a bit more context. If you don't know what Tim Lambesis did, he basically hired a hitman to kill his wife.
Yeah.
That is the minimum I'm going to say about it on that front. He has served time in prison for it, and so on. So I was puzzled as to why As I Lay Dying went back with him afterwards, knowing that it was going to be a tough sell for any festival promoter and stuff like that, because ultimately. You do your time all you want, but it's not necessarily going to mean you're forgiven in the public's eye.
No.
Why I'm struggling, I don't understand what I would have done if I was Tim Lambesis and As I Lay Dying. It appears to me as they closed ranks and brought fences down and basically were like, we're carrying on and we're just going to play our stuff. Why hasn't he been publicly out talking about this? Right?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Cool.
Actually, there's a very, very interesting video that the band put together before or as they were reconnecting, trying to reconnect, which is basically a round table event where they all sit at it. It's about an hour long.
Really?
And they give him some serious home truths.
I'm going to have to watch that.
And eventually, not by the end of it, it's not done. They say that, we spoke once. He asked if he could meet up because he wanted to apologise. They said no. Didn't speak again for 6 months.
Really?
It was a long building process.
Interesting.
And then Then they decided that we're going to put it all out there. We're not going to hide anything. We're not putting no fence up. It was the most open thing I've ever seen. He openly admits everything that he did, all the problems that he's had, everything that was his fault. The band literally tear him a new one.
Really?
You've ruined our lives. You've ruined this, that, and the other. And then it was a long period after that where they started rebuilding bridges. They started. They came out and they said, it was the first time I've ever believed that he's sorry. The first time ever, And then they decided that they were going to give him a second chance.
Right. So I would say this. Right. I agree with you. If we continue to punish people consistently, obviously, I do think it depends upon what the crime is and severity of it and things like that. That's not open for debate.
I guess the debatable one in this, and this is where it's difficult, is that a lot of the debate is on one side of the fence. People say, "Yeah, but he didn't kill her." On the other side of the fence, go, yeah, but that wasn't because he wasn't trying to.
Yeah, he didn't kill her. He didn't kill her because it didn't work.
So that's
that's a stupid statement that people say. That's dumb. I would say like this. So basically, I think As I Lay Dying and Tim and everyone involved in that band, promoters and so on, have every fucking right to try and make a living as they so choose. You, as a festival goer, or a gig goer, make the decision to then see them. Now, you can send messages in ways. So if they get booked for a festival and you're unhappy about that, you know what you do? You don't go to the festival. Yeah. Or you make sure you don't go near As I Lay Dying while they're playing. If no one shows up and there's 2 people standing out there, their band will realise, the promoters will realise, this is not going to work. We aren't forgiven in the eyes of the public. The way I say and look at this, let's say, I'm going to use a horrible example here, purely because it's the one I can only think of the most severe crime. What would we all think if The Lost Prophets frontman got out of prison and was like, okay, cool, I've done my time. Now I want to reform Lost Prophets.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
And actually, when I was speaking to my wife about this the other night, and we used the same example. But the one thing with that is that the crimes are comparable.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. Well, not even the problem, but it is. But if they did, there's
nothing that stops them doing that.
No, that's right.
It does stop us. We would never review it.
Of course.
We would never promote it. We would never push it.
You make a stance and say we're not going to do this.
We did have a conversation about As I Lay Dying's most recent single.
Yep.
And we both agreed the same thing, which was like, we've done the time.
Yeah.
Review it. Let's review it.
It has to be.
I guess my overriding thing on this was that I kind of feel like the only one who's maybe done something wrong in this whole story is the festival themselves.
Yeah, I think they fucked this one up.
When they announced them, they also announced a statement saying about they believe in rehabilitation and they believe in sex. But when they got rid of him and said that they're no longer on it, they said, while we still do believe in all of that stuff, basically fan pressure has led us to decide this wasn't the right move for our festival. So basically, it came across to me like fear of maybe losing ticket sales make you shut the band, and that's not the right reason. If I would have had more respect for them if they just stuck with their convictions. Like you said, people go to the festival, you don't have to watch them.
Yeah.
If you don't want them to get a cut of the money, you don't have to go to the festival.
Don't buy the merch, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah,
they'll quickly get the message if that's how you generally feel.
I've got no problem with festivals deciding they don't want to book As I Lay Dying. However, I do have a problem with you booking them, announcing that you're all for rehabilitation and re-entering society.
It's fascinating.
And then pull them off it. So yeah, it is quite a fascinating story. It's quite a controversial one, I think, for a lot of people. I understand why.
I think it's one of those where almost every time you speak about it, there's buts and there's this and there's
it always comes back to that one last question though, doesn't it? And that's the one that it's a difficult one to answer. Is at what point after committing a crime, depending on the severity of it, does your punishment stop?
Well, I mean, here's we can use another example. What about Emperor? I know there's a section of fan base that fan of people, because they're not fans, would say that Emperor should never been allowed to play and stuff like that. But ultimately, there was more that said it did. And here's the thing: is that man in Emperor hasn't ever been sorry for his stuff or anything like that.
No,
he's done his time, but there's no apologies in him. It starts opening up a really crazy can of worms. So here's an example, another one. If Bloodstock, and I'm going to use them because ultimately, now I don't think they would. I generally don't think they would. I don't think any festival in the UK would. In fact, I don't think any festival in the world would. But considering his music would be, his modern music wouldn't be. Right, fuck it. Any festival, not Bloodstock specific, any festival booked Brrraaains, what would you do?
In truth, I'd probably it wouldn't affect my decision to go to the festival. That's the thing.
Great.
I'd have to think about whether I was comfortable watching them as a band.
Yep.
Or not.
Yep.
But if I wasn't, I just wouldn't go and watch them as a band.
I agree.
It's a festival at the end of the day. It's not about a band, is it?
And it's actually funny enough, not the murder. That's the particular reason. My overriding reason is it's actually the neo-Nazi links, which is why I don't think anyone would.
But then we can go down this route, can't we? You know, like Phil Anselmo said he's sorry, so now it's okay.
No, but we
I know, like he hasn't gone out and killed somebody.
No, but we made a very strong point throughout, and I was still pretty much on that. I don't think either of us have ever really kind of let that go.
No,
and it's still coloured our opinion to date.
Oh, it's definitely coloured my opinion, but not to the point where I wouldn't watch Down.
No, of course. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like the As I Lay Dying crime and being a racist. I guess they are comparable to some people, maybe, and not to others. I guess the big thing on this is like whether we agree with governments or anything like that or not. What we do is we put them in power, and they decide the punishment for a crime.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure it's then on a festival to come out and say, or a collection of people to go, well, the government said you have to do this time. You've done that, but now we're going to give you some more. Actually. Yeah.
Okay, that's a fair point. We'll wrap that one up, but with one final thing. The probably biggest question I've got is: you're an As I Lay Dying fan. They're not a very good band.
I'm not an As I Lay Dying fan.
Not you, people. I mean, because I don't think they're a very good band.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that the single that he did, the first release since he came out and since they regrouped as a band, which is a very, very good song because you can imagine it's come from a place of extreme emotion, and it is an apology. It's an apology song, which again is why I'm saying they haven't hidden away from this. The whole song is him basically saying, what the fuck is wrong with me? What have I done? No blame, not blaming anyone else, not blaming his background, not blaming it. Purely, I fucked up.
Yeah. Well, you did.
I'm a fuck up. And I quite like the fact that it was that open and everything. But it was actually quite a good song. Sometimes when tragedy or
it can
it leads to a better thing, doesn't it?
It can inspire.